Getting a job in sports analysis is difficult. In fact, it can be very difficult. With so many people graduating from a sports-related course every single year, a degree is simply no longer enough. In this video, I want to give you some advice that will hopefully help you secure your first job in sports analysis. Most analyst jobs, even the internships, have so many applications. Just think there are thousands of graduates every single year, and you can bet that that number is growing much more quickly than the number of jobs that are actually available. You have to make yourself stand out from the rest, and hopefully using some of the tips in this video, you will be able to do that. Firstly, I'm going to say you need to have a good CV. So imagine you've applied for a job and so have 100 other people. Your CV needs to stand out from all of those others, when they're in a pile on the recruiter's desk. So you need to have a good one. A good CV will give you a much better chance of getting an interview, and with a cover letter, they should both be tailored to the specific position that you are applying for. I actually did a full video with 10 tips on how you can create the perfect CV, so you can watch that video after this one, and I will link it down below in the description. And that video goes over things that you should and shouldn't include, and also touches on the layout and design of your CV as well. Okay, so aside from a CV, if I was wanting to break into the industry right now, I would be doing my own bits and pieces on the side to create my own portfolio of work. Maybe you are still a student or you're working another job. You can easily spend some time on evenings and weekends to create some work, create a portfolio with some good content in there that can then be shared. Footage and even data is much easier to get a hold of nowadays than it used to be before. So be creative, make some good quality work that you're able to call your portfolio, and that will really help you stand out from the other people, that are looking for jobs within the same industry as you. When you do get around to watching the CV video that I mentioned, you will see that I've included in there, which I do think is important, to include a link to your work on your CV. So again, if you've created your own portfolio, it's very simple then. Just add a link to that on your CV itself. Then whoever's looking over it, whoever's actually hiring for the position, can see your content and see your portfolio. This actually leads me nicely onto my next point, which is network and use social media. The content that you create in your portfolio can be shared online. So, if you're not already, get yourself on LinkedIn, start connecting, start integrating yourself within the industry and start sharing your work. LinkedIn is an amazing tool to get yourself integrated within the analysis industry. So connect with people, share your work, leave comments, ask questions, basically just be seen. You could also share your work via Twitter or a blog. So I've actually seen a number of people that started off doing just this, and they've actually ended up within full-time paid positions within the industry. Not only does it showcase your work, it also shows that you are highly passionate about analysis. So if you're willing to put the time in, basically your own time, so whether it be on evenings, weekends, around another job or around your degree, then it's clear to me that you are passionate about analysis and that you do want to get a job, you do want to make that your career. So there's huge benefits to creating your own work, creating a portfolio, so definitely do that if you are looking for a job in analysis. So after creating a good CV, a portfolio of work, and you've started networking, you now need to gain some work experience. Obviously, this is a lot easier said than done, but if you've done the initial steps correctly and you've done them well, you will find this actually much easier. So you will be able to leverage your LinkedIn connections and also the portfolio of work that you've created. And hopefully, if you've done a good job there, you will find it much easier to get your foot in the door, which is all you need in this industry, to get yourself in there and get yourself some much needed actual hands-on work experience. I'm actually going to do a separate video purely on LinkedIn and how that can be used to help get you some work experience. It really is such a valuable tool. To make sure you don't miss that video, please subscribe to the channel below and also consider liking this video if you are finding any value from it. Anyway, back to work experience. This can be at any level. So obviously we all want to start at the top clubs. We just want to end up at the top clubs. But the reality is, it's very hard to get into them right from the beginning. So any form of experience is very useful. So what I will say, if you're a student, most universities have, or pretty much all universities have, sports teams that will play books on a Wednesday, for example. Just offer your services to those guys. So volunteer, start filming games, start coding games, just start getting used to being in and around a team. So obviously the university teams, again, if you're at uni, that's a great place to start. Also just, start looking at non-league teams around your area where you're at. And again, just offer your services. And again, this is where it goes back to the portfolio of work. So if you can actually prove that you can offer them something of value, then they're more likely to accept you, let you come in and actually get that experience that you need. If you are messaging people on LinkedIn asking for experience, then be polite, don't just make it about you. What can you offer those guys in return? Also, consider asking for something much more shorter term. So yes, in an ideal world, you might have, or you might want a season-long internship, or let's say a university requires you to do a 6 to 8 week placement. That's all well and good, but you've also got to consider what it's like for the analysts that you're actually asking. So is it useful for them to have you in for that amount of time, So you could then potentially ask for, could you shadow the analyst for 2 or 3 days or a week? Something that's smaller, such as that, is more likely to be accepted, in my opinion. It's less commitment for the analyst to make. You will still learn a hell of a lot, by shadowing an analyst within a club, even if it was for 2 or 3 days. So you can get in there, and then what I will say is it gives you that opportunity to make a good impression. So once you're in there, whether it be for 2 or 3 days, you get a new connection, you've met the analyst, you've gone in, show them what you're capable of, and that could definitely lead to something much more. Another important thing that you can do is to continue learning. So if you remember what I said right at the beginning of this video, is that basically a degree is no longer enough. The competition is so high that there's hundreds or thousands of people, graduating with a degree. So you need to basically be above those other guys. You need to stand out from the rest. So in order to do this, you can be proactive in learning additional skills. Could you teach yourself some data skills, for example? So there's loads of YouTube videos out there, and courses that you can get on the on the internet nowadays that will help to teach you these new skills. You'll be able to add these skills then to your portfolio of work, which will then obviously improve that, and obviously just improve you as a whole in terms of your analyst skill set. I've seen people post things on Twitter and LinkedIn, asking how to do a particular thing in Tableau, for example. So there's always other people within the community that are willing to help, give their input, and you can learn so much by doing just that. As well as data skills, you could potentially do some coaching qualifications, or improve your video editing skills, for example. So there's a whole host of things that you can do in terms of improving your skill set as a whole, and also becoming more valuable to your potential employer. Finally, another point to consider is to branch out to other sports. Football analysis jobs can be hard to come by, so if you do have an interest in another sport, then maybe you could tap into that. It doesn't mean you have to give up on football. What it does show is that you've got transferable skills, and you might actually find that there's something, in the second sport that could actually be used and utilised in your main sport. It will give you a different perspective on how things can be done in different environments. Okay, so that's it for this video. So if you do have any questions, or if you've got any suggestions for future videos, please do leave a comment below. If you haven't already, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate that. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next video.